Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Raqa Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is A Perverse Spirit. The greeting at the beginning of yesterday's live show got cut off. I don't know why. Maybe I started a little too soon, but I noticed that when I went back and just checked real quick, I wasn't checking for anything specific, just checking to see what the comments were like, and then I saw that, so I did give the greeting yesterday, but it just got cut off. But this morning when I got up, I was thinking about Jake in general, these women, and how they're brought up, and their behavior out here in these streets, how they react and, think and act, and started to get the wheels turning. So I, had some precepts that came to mind, and I grabbed a couple of them. I got them set up on the tabs. And what I want to do is eventually I want to read this here, also the definition for perverse. And then I want to say a few words, concerning this whole slander campaign, coming from mainly Deacon Asaph and the IUIC, which I just recently started, putting them in rotation in the curses. And I asked the Lord to deliver the elect from among them, because you do have some brothers, as you've heard Elder Apostle Tahar say, you do have some brothers that speak from the heart, that are sincere, that he believes and we believe are part of the elect. May the Lord have mercy on them and deliver them out of that cesspool of wickedness, and allow them to, be released from the clutches of Satan. Let me read this and then we'll get into it. So the word perverse is characterized by or displaying negation or denial or opposition or resistance, having no positive features, resistant to guidance or discipline. This applies to the IUIC and other groups that refuse, to be disciplined or guided. And this also applies big time to Jake out here in the streets, because they are not given the right guidance. They're given the freedom to do whatever they want to do. So what happens in turn is that is embedded in their psyche. So now they're not used to anything else but doing what the hell they want to do. So when you try to instill some type of discipline in them, they start bucking up and acting a fool. They act no different than beasts in the field. When the beasts, when they get around each other and they get mad or whatever, or they'll start fighting each other, clawing each other, sometimes even killing each other to death, just to get, some food or whatever the case may be. And that's the sentiment with Jake out here in these streets. And that's, to a certain degree, the same thought, same idea that's happening with these, some of these Israelite groups out here. And we're not going to call them black Hebrew Israelites like they do to us. It's just a straight up slaughter slander campaign against Great Millstone. And we wear it proudly. I got a little emotional yesterday, and I have every right to. Scriptures say, he that is angry with his brother without a cause. And not that I don't call them my brothers, because Yahushua didn't call them his brothers. Who is my mother, who is my brother, who is my sister? But they that do the will of my Father, the same as my mother and father, my mother and sister and brother. Them guys are not doing the will of the Father. They're doing their own will. And they're so set in that way that when you try to correct them, this is what you get. This is the thanks you get. But that's okay. Let's go to the first precept, Jeremiah 6:27. It says, I have set thee for a tower and a fortress among my people. This is dealing with the prophets. And the prophet's job is to watch for the enemy, the wolf, in whatever fashion it may be. And then once they see something awry, go and report it to the mass of the people so that they can get themselves together and prepared so that they're not harmed by this particular incident. But when you go and you teach and you warn Jake about things that are coming, they want to buck up against you. They want to curse you out. They want to slander you. Or they want to tell you what they believe it to be. And that's not the case. Yep, that's the scripture right there at the water, brother. Ephesians 4:26 and 27. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath, neither give place to the devil. Right. Because them demons, boy, they and it's not that they're getting up under our skin for a true purpose. It's just that you get tired of hearing that slander, and then hear other people repeat the same shit. And I was watching some of the video that the Elder Menata Zakba was doing on Deacon Asaph when he was talking all kind of shit about us, which he was twisting the words that certain men were speaking about. It was not sincere. And there was something I had said, I can't remember right now. It just kind of escaped my mind for the moment. Oh, yeah, Barakateh Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That the people that were on the comment board talking all that shit, they were just being marked by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And IUIC got a special, death coming to them. The Lord's going to do something serious to that group. Because them motherfuckers are some super slanderers. Now, I'm not talking about the sincere, among them. I'm not talking about the sincere brothers among them. I'm talking about the evil, wicked, demonic devils among them. Yahushua even cursed them out. He said, you are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, for he is a liar. And the father, pretty much he's the father of lies. And that's what these devils are at the IUIC. The leadership and anyone else that holds to the bullshit that they're teaching. And if any of them had a brain in their head, because they call us zombies, but they got that from us. If any of them had a brain in their head, they'll be like, well, wait a minute. If these men at Great Millstone were actually doing these things, wouldn't they be locked up? Wouldn't we hear about them in the news that, they committed such things and they got locked up on charges for all this stuff that these guys are saying? Because those are some, heinous crimes that they're accusing us of. Now they're accusing us of being moles. They're accusing us of having sex with, little, boys and all that shit. Man, boy, you got to be lucky. You got to be lucky that you got to be lucky that Frankie ain't around no more. You don't want Frankie to come out. That was dealing with Sadnetta. Inside joke, but you better be lucky that brothers are spiritual. That's all I'm gonna say. Jeremiah 6:27. I have set thee for a tower and a fortress among my people, that thou mayest know and try their way. It says they are all grievous revolters. See, all of them are grievous revolters. What is a revolter? Someone that goes against what is set up or established, which will go with the word perverse. Resistant to guidance or discipline, right? It says, walking with what? Slanders. Let's look up this word slanders. And that's what the word devil means, slanderer. That's why Yahushua called them a bunch of devils, them wicked Pharisees and Sadducees in them. He called them a bunch of devils. So they were a bunch of slanderers because they were lying on the Lord, and eventually because they couldn't resist his spirit and the gospel that he was teaching, they resorted to hire false witnesses against the Lord. And don't be surprised if, when that time comes, you see some of them same individuals, bringing false accusations against brothers. So the word for slander is raqa. That's why it is in Yahushua said, he that calls his brother raqa. What scripture is that? If anybody knows where that scripture is at, that may go hand in hand with this. I believe that's Matthew 5. Let me see if that. Let's see. Matthew 5:22. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment, and whosoever shall say to his brother, raqa, shall be in danger of the council, but whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire, which is destruction. Let's see, raqa. Let's see what that goes back to. Raqa. Empty, an example, a senseless, empty-headed man, a term of reproach used among the Jews in the time of Yahushua. Empty one. Right here it says, thou worthless, as a term of utter vilification. See? And that's what they're doing to us. It's a term used against us of utter vilification. And vilification means to vilify somebody, to paint them as a villain. You see? And that's what they're doing to us. So they got hell to pay. And they're lucky that we're not, litigious or litigious, or however the word is. Because we would have had them up on charges, and they would have not done well.
Well, we have the video where they said it.
Yeah, but you don't have the proof of any of that going on. And that's not going to ride in a court of law. If you was to bring that video into a court of law, they would throw the case out, because it don't matter what you say or what you think or how you feel. It matters. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove in a court of law. To quote the movie Law Abiding Citizen with Jamie Foxx and the guy that played in not Gladiator, 300. Gerard Butler or something like that. So raqa, y'all. Matter of fact, let's go back to that. Raqa, y'all, slanderer. Slanderer, talebearer, informer, right? Informer, talebearer, right? And the talebearer is someone that's out there telling your business, and pretty much what the business that they're telling is not true. It's bullshit, right? A scandal monger, which is what? A seller of scandals, and that's what they are. They're scandal mongers. IUIC are scandal mongers. That's a title for a lesson right there if anybody wants. IUIC are a bunch of scandal mongers. They selling scandals, because they know, and that's what Nate did when he was out in Jamaica, I believe it was, and the brother approached him, and I think the brother was asking him about the MOTB, and then Nate said, "Hey, well, you guys are a bunch of grapists," and the people, and they got irate because they play on these stupid people's emotions. That's what they said it, because they know that that's going to frazzle the people's brains to where they're not going to want to hear anything else. So that's a slander, man. You guys are scandal mongers. All right? Bunch of scandal mongers. So let's go back to that. They're all grievous revolters, walking with slanders. They are brass and iron, meaning that they're hard-headed. They're thick. They're obstinate, as the scriptures call them. They are all what? Corruptors. And that's what they are, corrupt. As a matter of fact, I was watching the video that Elder Pastor Hart put up. And the video that he put up had to do something with corruptor or something like that. Let me see. It's called Men of Corrupt Minds and Destitute of the Truth, Supposing They Gain Is Godliness. I didn't finish watching that yet. That's heavy. So they are all corruptors. Let's go to the word corruptors and see what it says. Shakath. Shakath. To destroy, corrupt, go to ruin, decay, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to destroy us, but they don't realize that same energy that they're using to try to destroy us is destroying them. To be marred, right? The word marred means to be, damaged. Like when you mar the corners of your beard, meaning you alter the corner of the beard by lining it up and chopping off part of the hair off of it. Not if you trim your beard, but if you take the edges of it and you trim it up and you clean it up, you shave that part of it, that's marring, destroying. Be spoiled, be corrupted. To pervert, there goes the word pervert again. Corrupt morally, and that's what they're doing. They're corrupting the people morally. First by telling them that the MOTB is not the micro C hip, and then they're also making them, repeat slanders that they're pushing out there, those slander mongers. So let's go back. It says the bellows are burned, the lead is consumed of the fire, the founder melteth in vain, for the wicked are not plucked away. Right, because here it is. What is this speaking about? The bellows are burned, the lead is consumed of the fire, the founder melteth in vain, for the wicked are not plucked away. In other words, when you go through the furnace of affliction, right, and you're catching, let's go to Isaiah real quick, Isaiah 48, to explain what that means. When you come into this truth, you go through certain afflictions, you go through certain adversities, and what those do is that they burn out the impurities out of that metal. And when you take any metal, any precious metal, and you burn it and you melt it down, the process, what that happens is all of the impurities, come off of that metal, and what's left in its liquid form is the pure metal, whether it's gold, silver, platinum, whatever. Okay? So when you go out there and you teach and rebuke these people, those hardships and things do not purify them. They make them worse. All right? Isaiah 48:10, behold, I have refined thee. So if you refine something, I mean you burning it down, you're taking out all the impurities, but not with silver. I have chosen thee, what? In the furnace of affliction. But the furnace of affliction does not pluck away their wickedness in this case. So that's why Yahweh Shai said, let's go to Matthew 23. Matthew 23 real quick. And 15. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, you make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves. See? And that's what they do. They make them twofold the child of hell than themselves, because their wickedness is not plucked away. So it remains, and what does it do? It just grows. And that's why you see this demonic spirit coming from the IUIC. And you know that it's getting worse, when they started teaching that hell doctrine. Because like the Apostle Tara was saying in the video that he was doing, a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump, as the scriptures say. And he said that when you put that leaven or that yeast into dough, once it's in there and it gets in there, you can't take it back out. It's already in there. It's pickled in there. Now it goes on to read Jeremiah 6:30. Reprobate silver shall they call them. Right. It's like what the term fool's gold. Meaning it appears to be gold, but it's not gold at all. It's fool's gold. Matter of fact, let's see. Fool's gold definition. Fool's gold is a substance that is found in rock and that looks very like gold. What does the phrase fool's gold mean? It says an item that its owner believes to be valuable, like the bullshit that they're teaching at the IUIC of the hell doctrine and of the MOTB is sin in all its forms, but that really is not so. You see? So it's reprobate silver. It's fool's gold. That's why it says, reprobate silver shall men call them, because the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai hath rejected them. So they have been rejected. That's why they're teaching that hell doctrine. That was never taught at the school at One West. And when they try to bring it out, it's titled back then High Priest Yeshaya, and I later found out that High Priest Kazak was with the same shit. When that would be brought up, it would quickly get smashed down. And now here it is, more than 30 years later, Bishop Nathaniel's pushing that shit, and he's pushing it heavy, because their group is pushing that thing, all over the planet, wherever they're at, and they're pushing it hard, and bewitching Jake out here. But they're blind leaders of the blind, and if they blind lead the blind, they shall both fall into the ditch. So we go to the word reprobate, which the word reprobate is the Hebrew word ma'as. Just bear with me 1 second. Now the Hebrew word ma'as is to reject, despise, refuse, right? So when you're building something, you have to, pick bricks and pick different building materials. And if you're building something that's pristine, something that's, of great value, you're not just going to put anything in there. If there's some type of flaw, if there's a crack in the brick, or if there's, something that's wrong, with that particular thing you're trying to build with, you're going to chuck it to the side and find something that's better. And that's what the Lord is doing with these reprobates at the IUIC. And like I said, we keep saying it this way because we believe that there are sincere, elect among them, and may the Lord Yahweh Shemel shall have mercy on them. And for their sake, we don't totally just condemn the whole group, which them niggas, they condemn us. Every last one of the brothers in GM, they condemn everybody. Oh, you are going to hell. You ain't shit. You're going to die. But we, on the other hand, which are, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, set up to be, the right judges, we hope, we'll say that you have, elect among them, and may the Lord have mercy on them. You see? Bunch of ninjas with garments and fringes. So, reprobate silver shall men call them because the Lord have rejected them. Now, Matthew 23:15, which we read that already. Now, let's get to this. Psalms 31 and 13. This is dealing with Yahweh Shai. Remember what Yahweh Shai said, if they did it to you, they're going to do it to me. For I have heard the slander of many. Fear was on every side. While they took counsel against me, they devised to take away my life. And that's what they do. That's exactly what they're doing. And I just feel that in my bones that if they had the ability to put us to death, they would. Because that's just how wicked and evil them bastards are. I'm talking about the leadership. I'm talking about the wicked ones. Not the ones that are part of the elect, the sincere brothers. Because I believe those brothers don't feel that way, but they're just stuck in a quagmire. So I pray the Lord work on their mind and get them out of there, deliver them from those demons. Psalms 50 and 20, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. This is dealing with Esau, but this applies to them too. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. Psalms 101 and 5, whoso privily slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off. And you hear Pastor say it all the time, Elder Pastor say it all the time, watch what the Lord is going to do to the IUIC. Now, in hindsight, we were going down to the camp Saturday to pick up Elder Pastor first. And we were listening to the Elder Bishop Manatazak speaking. And I had forgot about this. He was speaking about IUIC back then, Deacon Asaph. And when the whole Joy Morgan incident happened, that dealt a serious, nasty blow to the IUIC. And back then, Deacon Asaph was like, well,
I'm not going to say that Great Millstone, I'm not going to say that they great women, I'm not going to say that they're child molesters or pedophiles, because there's no proof of that. I'm not going to say that anymore.
Now here it is years later after that smoke and cleared on that Joy Morgan incident. Now he's back to saying that stupid shit. But you see how adversity makes an individual change, humbles them? But then once the adversity is gone, they go right back to that reprobate spirit. He said that years ago.
I'm not going to say that anymore because it's not true. There's no proof of it.
Now he's back to saying that same shit. So whoso privately slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off. Him that hath an high look and a proud heart will not I suffer. And them dudes have proud looks. That's why your man, Bishop Kanai came up in the Passover like he conquered the world. I mean, that dude was super pompous. He was up in there, he was like you couldn't tell him shit. His head was to the clouds. Now, I say this, Deacon, Bishop Yawasap, on the other hand, he was very humble when he came in there. He didn't come in like that dude. That dude came in there like he was Caesar, Julius Caesar himself. Julius Caesar Kanai. Weedy wiki. I came, I saw, I conquered. There was not a lick of humility in that dude. Psalms 10:18, he that hideth hatred with lying lips, and he that uttereth a slander is a fool. You're a bunch of fools. You're uttering slanders. And you're hiding hatred with lying lips because you're lying on us. And you really hate us. Because, matter of fact, let's go to Proverbs 28. I'm going to jump up here, but I'm going to jump to the 28 verse. Proverbs 26:28. A lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it. And we're afflicted by your hating tongue. You got people coming on the comment board yesterday talking about, watch out for these men, these creeps, or whatever the fuck that devil said. And that falls on you guys. You put that spirit out there. The Lord's going to deal with you. When we talk about you guys and when we get on the bishop, it's because of doctrinal differences that he's going off on. Not no goddamn slander. A lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it, and a flattering mouth worketh ruin. You see, they're trying to ruin our reputation. And if we were litigious or litigious, we would get lawyers and we would sue the fuck out of you. All right? For defamation of character. Goddamn demons. So Proverbs 10:18, he that hideth hatred with lying lips, and he that uttereth a slander is a fool. Jeremiah 9:4, take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother, for every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders. Bear with me 1 second. All right. Women Women were saying that we hang out by middle schools. Slander. Yeah, that's true. Pieces of shit. And all of those women that when that demon Asaph said,
I want to hear from the women now. Put on there if you're with that, that the number one fantasy of a woman is grape.
And all those women that put that, they were all full of shit. Those are all demons. And I was listening to Apostle Tahar, and he said that IUIC, I concur, does not think with a scholarly mind. They do not think with a scholarly mind. They think with a dollar mind. Because, if they think with a scholarly mind, they're going to lose more than half of their followers. They do not think with a scholarly mind. They think with a dollar mind. You see? Because smooth words equals more dollars. Scholarly mind is going to be harsher, that equals less dollars. Okay, you can't jet set in first class and stay in the best hotels and eat the best foods if you are telling the truth. You see? Because the women, which are the main ones with the money, they're going to leave first. Sirach 19:15, admonish a friend, for many times it is a slander, and believe not every tale. Okay, that's going into something else. All right, so that's the main point on that. So let me read this real quick, and then Proverbs 26:23, burning lips and a wicked heart are like potsherds covered with silver dross. Right, because they're deceitful. A potsherd is a clay, right, that's covered with, it's just got a glaze of silver on it, You know, and you're thinking that it's an actual silver pot, but it's really a clay pot that looks like silver. He that hateth dissembleth with his lips, and that's what they're doing. They're dissembling with their lips. Dissemblers! And layeth up deceit within him. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart, whose hatred is covered by deceit. His wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation, and they're going to be manifested. They're going to be manifested to the world that they're wicked, especially the leadership. Now, the ones that are part of the elect, the Lord's going to deliver them out of them, out of there somehow, some way. Whoso diggeth the pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth the stone, it will return upon him. Yeah, because the chickens are going to come home to roost at one way or another. A lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it, and a flattering mouth worketh ruin. You're going to be ruined. Now, dealing with these women and Jake in general, what I was, speaking about, thinking about earlier, on my walk, a definition came into my mind. So I grabbed it up real quick, just so I wouldn't forget it. And it's called low birth. All right. What does a man of low birth mean? Occupying the lowest socioeconomic position in a society, meaning at the low, at the bottom. And when you were in that category, you were not brought up under tutors. You were not learned. Most people did not know how to read or write. Most people spoke the common language. They didn't speak, the Hebrew or the Greek or the Latin. They spoke a common language at the time. So they were not considered to be learned. So they would not be brought up as a royal or noble family would be. And that's pretty much the condition that Jake is in, because the curses say that curse shall thou be in the city, and curse shall thou be in the field. Curse shall thou be when thou comest in, and curse shall thou be when thou goest out. So there's no real structure in most cases, not all cases, because you have exceptions to the rules. Because you do have some parents out there that do instill certain morals into their children. I'm talking about Jake. But for the most part, I say 95% of Jake do not instill any form of discipline, any form of moral values into their children. This is why they turn out to be the way they do today, right? It says base born, humble, lowly, of low birth or station, base and archaic in this sense, common, plebeian, right? Because you have the patricians and you have the plebeian. The plebeian was the lower class. Unwashed, vulgar. Now the word vulgar just simply means common. Like you have something called the Vulgate. The Vulgate is the Latin translation of the Bible, which the word vulgar means to be common. So they're saying that the Vulgate was translated that because it was for the common folk. But the common folk did not speak the Latin language. This is why later on in the history you had the English translations, because the majority of the people back then spoke English. And those individuals that were translating the Bible into English were being put to death or jailed or persecuted, because the ecclesiastical gatekeepers at the time, the clergy, the church, so-called fathers, and the ones that were high up in positions did not want the Bible to get into the hands of the common folk. Because if it got into the hand of the common folk and they would read, they would understand, and they would know that the shit that they were teaching was a bunch of bullshit. Because a lot of the shit that they taught, which was traditions and myths, were all taught to keep the people in fear. So that's why they persecuted and put to death and jailed a lot of those individuals that translated the Bible into English. That's why they try to blow up, King James on the 5th of November. That the something plot, I forget what it's called. You could watch the movie V for Vendetta. It brought that out. The 5th of November. of or associated with great masses of people, right? Because the great masses of people are not normally brought up as the people that are of noble birth. People of noble birth are brought up with tutors. The men are taught how to become leaders, how to learn how to read, how to write, how to go into the Hebrew, how to understand the laws, the statutes, commandments, so on and so forth. The women were taught to be confectionaries, to cook, clean, sew, so on and so forth, how to guide the house, how to be a real woman, how to conduct themselves ladylike when they're in public, when they're alone, when they're with their husband, so on and so forth. But the average common person was not taught that. They learned as they learned. Galatians 4:1, now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differeth nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all. Right, because a servant was not brought up in the same fashion that nobility was brought up, but is under tutors and governors unto the time appointed of the Father. See, so they were under tutors and governors until they met the learning requirements and the discipline that was required to be able to get into the Father's business. That's why the Apostle Paul gave credence, and he gave a big up to the Bereans. He said they were more noble because they were noble born. They were taught how to research. They were taught about going into the Hebrew and so on and so forth. They were nobility. That's why he said they were more noble than they of Thessalonica. They were brought up under this noble way through tutors and governors. Jake in the hood ain't brought up like that. Jake in the hood is brought up through low birth. All right? Now, when we go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 30:1, he that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod, because that is a way to instill discipline and values into your child. Spare the rod, spoil the child. If you spare the rod, if you don't beat the child on the sides, he's not going to die like the scriptures say. If you don't do that, guess what? You're going to spoil the child. That's why it says spare the rod. Don't hit him, you're going to spoil the child. But if you cause him to feel the rod, right, spanking him for something he did that was wrong, then that will learn him. It says that he may have joy of him in the end. See? He that chastises his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. How many times have you seen Jake doing certain stupid shit, and their parents, the mother or whatever the case may be, or aunties or whatever, have to hold their head down in shame because of what he did. And what do they say? Your mother didn't raise you right. You wasn't brought up right. Your parents didn't raise you right. This is the point here. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. And Esau loves nothing more than a coon. All right, than a raccoon. He loves nothing more than a spick. That mentality. They love that shit. They don't like it when you teach Jake. They don't like it when Jake comes up and is dignified and knows how to behave and how to conduct themselves and carry themselves in a dignified, royal way. They don't like that. When they see Jake shucking and jiving with their pants hanging off their ass and a blunt in their mouth or whatever the hell they call this shit now, they like that because they know as long as Jake is like that, they're not a threat. But when they're educated, which means the word educated, which means to draw out, when they're brought up the right way, especially dealing with the scriptures, then that's a threat. But not just being brought up in the scriptures, being brought up in the scriptures the right way, through the Hebrew Israelites. And that's why the Hebrew Israelites are so demonized, and especially Great Millstone. It says, and before, and this guy, Deacon A, said, no, we're teaching the youth, we're teaching them, not to, First of all, if you're going to teach them, you got to teach them the right way. You got to teach them that the MOTB is the micro C-hip. Because that is a very, important prophecy that's playing out right now on the planet Earth as we speak. And these young men and young women among Jake, they need to know this so that when the time comes, they don't take it. Because in taking it is certain death. So he that teacheth the son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. And you can read on the rest of this. That's the, you get the point. Job 8:8. It says, for inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. Why? Because the search of our fathers will give us the guidance that we need on how to behave and conduct ourselves. Our fathers didn't act like these jakes act today. I'm talking about going back, when we were established as a nation. For we are but of yesterday and know nothing, because our days are upon the earth are as a shadow, Shall not they teach thee, see, and tell thee, and utter words out of their heart? Right. So, and we would learn the right way. Right? Titus 2:1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, which is helpful to build up a person's character, to build up their knowledge of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, to teach them in the fear of the Lord. And that's something else that these camps do not teach. They do not teach the fear of the Lord. That's why they do and say whatever the hell comes to their mind, without thinking, well, if I say this, then the Lord might jack me up. It says that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and patience. Yeah, because the aged men will be able to teach the young men. They will be able to guide them. Matter of fact, Sirach, or Ecclesiastes 25:26. Oh, how comely is the wisdom of old men, and understanding and counsel to men of honor. Wisdom of Solomon, Sirach, or once again, 34. I'm not sure exactly where this is at. Stand in the multitude of elders and cleave unto him that is wise. Right. Right, here goes Proverbs 20 and 29. Let's get that real quick. That's why there was a structure. Proverbs 20:29. The glory of young men is their strength, and the beauty of old men is the gray head. See? And they would teach the young men how to conduct themselves. You don't have that today. See if we could glean anything else out of here. This is Job 12:12. Wisdom belongs to the aged, and understanding to the old. I don't know if I think that's a different version. Okay, so now let's go to Ecclesiastes 26, and we're going to try to jump around a little bit here. Blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled. So how did she become a virtuous wife? Because she was raised correctly. She was raised to be a virtuous woman. Now, some women are raised that way and they go astray, but for the most part, the woman that is instructed correctly, like the scriptures say, train up a child in the way that he should go. When he is old, he should not depart from it. Verse 14, and we're going to jump back up. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. See? And these women today are not being instructed because the women that are guiding them or raising them up are not well instructed. Titus 2:3. The aged women likewise. So what are these aged women doing? They're being hoes. They're walking around with this tight ass, everything tight ass spandex, tight ass, spandex suits with all the flab and the cottage cheese hanging out everywhere. And these women are disgusting. You got these women with these big fat stomachs hanging out of their shirt thinking that shit is sexy. With all these rolls and all this, cellulite and all that shit. That shit is not sexy. You got that extra ham under the underarms, sticking out of the side of the pits of their underarms. That cheese under there, thinking that shit is not sexy. Back in the days, people had that shit. They would hide that shit. Now we ain't perfect, of course. We got our roles and all of that, but at the end of the day, You don't have brothers, and sisters out there, going out there. I'm talking the real, the sincere ones, sincere sisters, hanging, going out there with the flab and everything hanging out. No, it don't work like that. That's inappropriate. The scriptures, tell us that. But these women out here, they don't give a fuck. Walking around here, back in the days, I forgot what those shirts were called. The women used to wear that was cut off at the stomach. Look, women that wore that back in the days, they were in shape. These women that wear that today, they got flab everywhere. That shit is disgusting. That they be in behavior as becometh holiness, right? Because they had to know how to conduct themselves. Not false accusers, see? Like the IUIC. Not given to much wine. Teachers of good things, see? And how did they know to teach good things? Because they were taught good things. Because they were reared up with a mind that was well instructed. That they may teach the young women, see, to be sober. And that's the problem. The young women today are not being taught. This is why they're growing up to be the way that they are, these degenerates that they are. Got tattoos everywhere, got their goods hanging out everywhere. They're laying down with Tom, Dick, and Harry. The promiscuity is promiscuity today is held in high regard like virginity was held in high regard in the past. Virginity was greatly esteemed. So what's esteemed today among Jake? Being a slut, being promiscuous. And your status in this world goes higher the more men you lay with. The higher your body count, the more esteem that you receive in this world. When they don't know that that's the total opposite. Jello arms. Jello pudding pop arms and shit. You brothers are crazy. It says that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children. Right. These women can't even stay with a man more than 6 months. And if they do stay with a man longer than that, they're laying down with other individuals. Then the individual finds out, oh, you cheating on me? Damn, man, I thought I was the one for you. No, these women are hoes, bro. I hate to burst your bubble, man. But you ain't got a real woman, man. Salakia. It says to be discreet, and that's something that they are not. And it don't mean to be in the streets, all right? To be discreet. There's a difference. Because, matter of fact, since we said in the streets, right? So like, forgive me, I'm having a dove moment over here. Back in Ecclesiastes 26:10, if thy daughter be shameless, a shameless woman shall be counted as what? As a dog. Keep her in what? Straightly. Not in a straight line, straightly, in a position of difficulty. Don't give her too much liberty. Because if you give her too much liberty, guess what's going to happen? Least she abuse herself through overmuch liberty, which shows that women cannot be left to themselves, especially when they're young. Even when they get older, you have to watch over them. The scriptures say, if not, the hedge is going to be, how does that go? I believe it's in the same chapter. Let me see something. Control, find, hedge. No, that's not it. The hedge. Let me try hedge then. Yeah, sometimes this thing be acting funny. You'll type in a word and it'll be in the verse. Here we go. Sirach 36:25. Where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled, and he that hath no wife shall wander up and down mourning. Right. So if you don't have a hedge over your woman, whether she's young or older, the possession's gonna be spoiled. Them individuals that are, always moving, going around, business, transaction, business meetings in different states and different countries, their woman is cheating on them. For that, you can guarantee that. All right, so going back, did we finish this? Oh, did we look up the word discreet? No. Discreet is sophron, of a sound mind. And how could she have a sound mind if she was not taught the right way? Sane, see? Because these women out here are fucking insane. Oh yeah, definitely marrying damaged goods. Yep, damaged goods, baby. Of a sound mind, sane in one's senses. See, and that's why you can't let them, do whatever they want to do or be persuaded by their peers, because their peers don't know shit. And that's why the mother, the father would have to be men and women of character that know, the values of life, to instill that into their children so that they can be, upstanding individuals that are so-called, I hate to use that word, upstanding individuals. Leave it at that. Curbing one's desires and impulses, see? And these women don't curb their desires and impulses. They want to have sex with a man, they have sex with a man. They want to have sex with a woman, they have sex with a woman. They want to have sex with a man and a woman at the same time, they'll do it. There's nothing there because they were not trained right. They were not taught right. And that's why Jake is so fucked up today out here in these streets. So let's see. To be discreet, chaste. What does it mean, chaste? Chastity. Chastity belt or chaste, chastity belt. Meaning they're not supposed to, when they get with their husband, they ain't supposed to be dealing with no other man but their husband. The only time they should crack them legs is for their husband. Matter of fact, here goes another one. Ecclesiastes 26:8. A drunken woman and a gatherer abroad causes great anger. She's always in the streets, and she will not cover her own shame. Here we go. Watch over an impudent eye. Right, these women are impudent. And marvel not if she trespass against thee. Right, don't think it's strange because she gonna do it. You gave her liberty, she gonna do whatever the hell she wanna do. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he hath found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. Any man that approaches her, she gonna get with. By every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. She's not supposed to be that way. If she was well instructed, then she would know to be chaste or chaste. Where you get the word chastity. Hagnos, which is holy. Exciting reverence, right? You got hagios. Hagios or hagiography is the writing of the saints. Exciting reverence, venerable, right? When you're venerable, meaning you're someone that is of reputation, someone that did something that's honorable, pious, as a sacred, pure from every fault, immaculate, clean. Right. So if you're dealing with just your man, then you're clean. Keepers at home. Oh boy, that would be a red flag to these women. They'll be like, oh hell no, what? These women can't stay home. Hey, matter of fact, the scriptures tell us that. Let's go here and then we'll finish back up in Titus. 1 Timothy, Salaki. Yeah, 1 Timothy 5 and 11. But the younger widows refuse, or the younger women also, because you had the widows back then. If they lose their husband, they could get married if they were young. and they were not supposed to, give themselves to the work of the Lord because they still had their hormones jumping. All right, and this also applies to young women. But the younger widows refuse, for when they have begun to wax wanton, what does it mean, wax wanton? They get that itch down there. Them hormones are jumping. You're going to get those feelings. You're going to get that desire. Against Yahushua, they will marry, meaning they will have sex, having damnation because they have cast off their first faith, right? Because they so-called dedicated themselves to the Lord, and then they went back on their word. And withal, they learned to be what? Idle. In other words, they ain't doing shit. You see these women, they lay in the bed all day, or they don't do shit, they don't cook, they don't clean, the house is atrocious, You go in there, the dishes are stacked to the ceiling, there's shit caked on it. Instead of washing the dishes, they'll go and buy another pot or pan or whatever to cook in or whatever. The house is a total mess, cesspool. Wandering about from house to house, jumping from this person's house to that person's house. And not only idle, but tattlers, always running their mouth. Also, and what? Busybodies in everybody's business, speaking things which they ought not. I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully, which all of them pretty much are like that now for the most part. For some are already turned aside after Satan, which shows you that women that act like that, they got a satanic mindset, but they don't think so. That's why the sisters that are learning this, the few sisters that are out there that are hanging on in there, just hang on in there. It's a hard road, but it'll pay off in the long run. So let's finish off here in Titus, Titus 2:5, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husband. And these women are not obedient to their husbands, for the most part. I mean, you have some sisters that are trying. We ain't perfect, of course. The brothers and sisters ain't perfect. But we know if you at least attempting doing something, you're doing more than the average person out here, because the average Jake out here is undisciplined. That the word of the Most High be what? Be not blasphemed. Okay? So, a perverse spirit, that goes for the IUIC, and that goes for these Jakes out here in the hood with that mentality that they have. So, with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To water to you brothers for all the scriptures you posted up. Salaki, I didn't get to read, a lot of them, but the water. And I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say shalom.